Thank you.
The Community and Inclusion Officer listens to the views of students and represents them on matters affecting all wellbeing at the university, locally and nationally. They champion student wellbeing by identifying and addressing challenges relating to mental health, housing and the overall cost of living. They also act as the full-time office of contact for college wellbeing representatives.
It's Mia Bladen and I'm here interviewing Haya Saleem for the position of Community and Inclusion Officer. Welcome, Haya. You've mentioned in your manifesto you would like accessible physical and mental health care on campus involving a doctor or a nurse for all students. Now, how do you plan to fund this scheme considering the university's recent cost-cutting measures? And also, how would you ensure that a student body of over 20,000 have access to a doctor or nurse?
So I do think that the university can host many fundraisers to raise funds for the doctor and nurse on campus.
Could you just speak closer?
Yeah.
Thank you.
So the university can raise funds through different measures, through different events. We can partner with different societies to host events so that we can raise enough funds for there to be a nurse on campus at least, so that there's a first person of contact that people can reach. And there are shared care agreements between universities and the NHS in other institutions. Maybe we can have something like that over here. But the most important thing is that I want there to be a healthcare guide for international students, because they really do not know how to access universal healthcare like there is in the UK. And I would really like them to know that sometimes there are long waiting times, and they should expect that when they come, before they come here.
You also mentioned in your manifesto that you want to create guides for neurodivergent and international students to thrive on campus. Mm-hmm. Now, there are many departments across the university that already champion equality, diversity and inclusion through glossaries and information for students on how to be allies to minority groups. So with this in mind, do you plan to just improve the current guides for disabled and international students, or do you want to implement something new?
I do want to implement something new, because at the moment there are guides that are at the department level. They're not at the university level. And when you're a neurodivergent student or an international student and you get 20 emails in a week, it gets very overwhelming and you don't get to go through all of them. So something more accessible, a hub, weekly meetings, monthly meetings, something of that sort that can bring people together so that they know where to get support. Because at this point, yes, web pages do exist. I agree with that. But a web page is not inclusion. A web page is just a web page. If you're neurodivergent and you don't have the capacity to look up the web page, you don't know where the information is at. And the web page does not contain departmental links.
You say in your second point as well that you want to build community through accessible campus spaces. Mm-hmm. So how do you define accessibility, and how will you ensure that campus spaces are accessible to all students?
So accessibility is a huge issue. It's a very pertinent issue. The thing is, we have different types of students. We have home students, we have commuters, we have international students, and we have disabled students. Accessibility means physical accessibility. It also means mental, emotional accessibility. So I want to create spaces where people feel seen, heard, and understood.
And you say you want to collaborate with the academic officer to make course descriptions less vague. How exactly would you go about implementing that?
So the academic officer has a bunch of course reps in every department, and they report to the academic officer at the end of the day. So a lot of feedback is brought about during semester. But the problem is, at the moment, the feedback is being used to improve the next semester or the next year of the course. It's not in the same semester. Students would like to see a change in the same semester. And that is what I would like to implement, that there should be midterm feedback, not end of semester feedback.
Yeah, you say that you want to assist the academic officer in using mid-term feedback to improve course quality. So how do you think a student's university course impacts community inclusion, and how will you work with the academic officer to improve the current system of termly feedback forms?
So the thing is that mental health and academics are not a separate issue. it's the same issue because academics do impact students' mental health.
Okay, sorry, we're out of time, but thank you very much, Haya.
The Community and Inclusion Officer listens to the views of students